And ladies and gentlemen, therefore, join me in welcoming the State Secretary of the Financial Ministry of the Federal State of Hessen, Uwe Becker, here on stage. Uwe, welcome.
Hello.
Well, great to have you here. And the two of us, we said we would talk about the financial centers. We had the financial center of Paris here this morning. I know Europe is very close to your heart as well. You used to serve at for European Affairs as State Secretary before. We don't only have Frankfurt, certainly, in the European Union. We have Paris, we have Dublin, we have Amsterdam, Luxembourg. How could these financial centers collaborate in a smart way from your perspective so that we eventually make out of the small pots Nicolas Baer was talking about one big pot?
Let me connect, as you said, what we have just heard to the question on how to make the best out of this competitiveness. And competition and cooperation, I think, and in between, like competition, will be the word who will answer this, how far we can really attract our present thinking to share what we can more achieve together. We just heard about what is coming up in Europe. We see all the questions that we have after the wake-up calls with the Russian war against Ukraine, now with the election in the US. We have several wake-up calls, but Europe is still in the process of waking up. We speak about strategic sovereignty, we speak about all the issues that come with the big transformation, and we all know that this doesn't work with subsidies or tax money. So what we just heard about the European market, we speak today about the savings and the investment union. So we just invented another name, but we still not achieved what we need with this common European capital market. And when we ask the question on where will it be, where will be the gateway to economy? Of course, Frankfurt is the gateway to the German economy very strongly, and this gives us a very special role in the field of where we can contribute as financial centers to what needs to be done in the way of collecting capital here. And it will be sums of billions that we need for the transition, if it's digitalization, if it's switching to a green economy, how green soever, but the Green Industrial Plan of the European Union from the last time. All these brings up the question on where will it happen? And we see that it can happen in Europe when we look to Sweden. So it's not the question on London or on New York, but it happens within the European continent, within Europe. And so that is something that we see, how to connect our capital, our financial centers, and come to common power. I'm not naive about the competition. We saw it when we were fighting for the AMLA, the seat of the AMLA, when we were discussing the question of the European Banking Authority, and when you spoke about Paris, of course, Frankfurt and Paris are in a competition. But at the same time, we should think really globally, and we are not in the competition in between us, but we should focus on the European competition towards the US, towards Asia. And if we come to the point to combine the best of both of us, so not the German savoir-vivre and the French talent to organize, but perhaps the French savoir-vivre and the German talents to organize. So in the right connection, we can also, if we look at the markets, if we speak about which field of industry do we have, we with our small and medium-sized markets, with our small and medium-sized economy, have many assets to offer. And when we spoke about here the pension gap and how we should and we have to work on that and how to attract money to come to Europe, if we focus on those momentarily very fragmented market and to bring flagships out of it, like we have with Deutsche Börse, and focus things, concentrate things. Of course, concentrate means someone gives something to another one, but we have to come to that point. Then Europe has the best perspectives in combining the best of our capital and financial centers.
Mm-hmm. Then let me ask you for a vision for Europe, because on the one hand, when we look at the global financial centers, the top rankings, on the one hand, US, San Francisco, New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, on the other side, Asia with Hong Kong, Singapore, Shanghai. what would be a vision for Europe on a global scale? What role as a financial center could we play?
Well, we should try to achieve to become number one. And I don't, I mean, there were even German...
It's a vision.
Yeah, I mean, in the past we had German politicians that said, if you have a vision, go to the doctor. But I would say, if you have a vision, try to make it possible. And when we come from that mindset, and when we come from what we really have, we just heard also from Nicolas Baer about the huge assets that we have already within the European Union, not speaking about the assets around the globe. And that is mainly the issue where we really have the chance and the potential, if we speak about stability, with all issues that we have to solve within Europe. And as I said, we are still in this wake-up process after what has happened, and when we speak about strategic sovereignty, probably no one really can answer at the moment what is behind that. What we mean with coming more production here, we're more industry back to the European continent. Besides, we have a government which was speaking about deindustrialization a month ago. So we have to fix a few things in the upcoming months to really achieve those things. But if we come to the point that, say, with our demographic shift that we have, with the pension issues that come out of this, with creative products and innovation, with less regulation, we need healthy regulation, but not deadly strangulation. And the European Union now and the new Commission, what we hear, what we see from the Parliament, it's still getting back on a formal track. So if you put it together, the vision is really to become number one, and we have the possibilities with stability, with democratic stability, with stability in energy, with stability in data, and here in Frankfurt as the center hub for data. I mean, that's the best place to be and to invest.
So put the financial center at the forefront.
Yeah.
Just one brief last question with regard to our closing keynote speaker who's just here. We talked about the tech champions that we have to build, the little parts into one big pot, again, that picture or that image. How can Hesse support the federal state of Hesse here to eventually build global tech champions?
Well, what we already did in the past was to focus on making the state of Hessen and within Frankfurt the start hub Hessen. So it also gave invention in the field of how making an environment creative for those companies who are today here and at other places too. And just today, nearly parallel to what is happening here, our Minister President Boris Rhein invited the heads of the banking community here, the financial community here, the economy, for the first cabinet on the finance center here in Frankfurt for Germany. And that addresses the future view on what is necessarily also if it comes from crypto to AI. And all those issues will be brought up in the near future more efficiently, more strongly. And it's the first time for years that a state government puts that energy into creating that atmosphere. And I think that is a very good spot already for making the things possible. We should more speak about enabling than regulating. When we invent products, the Germans first think about how to regulate and not how to enable. And I think that's also different in between the Europeans when we speak about the French and the Germans. The French have big visions, and the Germans always say, okay, I'm not sure if we really can achieve it. More vision, more enabling, less regulation, less bureaucracy, and of course the big money comes when you form the surrounding with less tax. So we need the tax reform within Germany, we need tax reforms for Europe, we need the issues of the level playing field, and make it short, level playing field to bring a framework around where not all tax situation is so different within Europe, so we bring things more together, enable things, and then we will be just, it will not work for itself, but it will work with this spirit, I think.
Well, and with that, I say thank you so much unleashing the potential of the financial center here in Europe, and thank you very much for putting us into your busy schedule today. Thank you very much, the State Secretary of the Ministry of Finance here in Hesse, Uwe Becker. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you.